Hello, this is Charity Adams with Adams Acres, and I'm going to put together a card for you. And the one thing I wanted to review today was the iRock tool. I got it last week. I am in love with it. It does really fun bling, and it does it really easily without extra glue. And when you get the iRock tool, you can also purchase your bling in different colors and glitters and shapes. I have the basic pack to just get started with, but I'm positive I'll be adding to that collection very, very soon. Now, I also wanted to show you today the difference between using chalk on your embossed pieces of paper and not using the chalk, and seeing what the difference is and how it makes your emboss pop a little bit more. And what you want to do is get a little bit of chalk that's maybe a shade darker than your paper, and just go ahead and rub that around. And I'm doing this on a basil splat mat. This is the newest one. It is 24 inches by 15, and that's really good for me because I tend to spread out, and I like to spread out when I'm doing my projects. And don't worry about stuff getting on it, because I'll show you in a second that just wipes right off, which is a lot different than when I was using chalk and just using maybe a placemat or a placemat or plastic or wax paper that I had been using to cover my working area. Now you'll see that this is some Die Cuts with a View paper from the Be Mine collection. It had a pattern on it before, and just because I chalked it, I didn't really change the pattern. I can still see that pattern, but you can see the definition of the embossing quite a bit more. And this is a Cuttlebug embossing folder. The next layer is going to be our center layer, and I'm going to use some ink on that just to show you what the splat mat can do. I'm using a makeup thing. I know I'm supposed to probably use one of those little tools that look kind of like a lipstick stick with a sponge in the bottom, but I don't have any of those, and I'm kind of thrifty, so I'm using a makeup sponge, and it seems to be working just as well. I do have a little more control when I'm using the daubers, but this will work for a pinch and stuff that doesn't need to be terribly detailed. But you'll see that I can pull the ink right off the splat mat and get it directly on the paper that I'm working with. Okay, so we've got that. Now we got that. And when you're working with the splat mat, pretty simple to wipe up your messes. I have a baby wipe, and I usually just keep it's better if I have a wet one, but I don't have a wet one right now. I have a little jar of water that I kind of keep by my table for such messes, and you just want to use just a little bit of water, get that damp, and then use the dry side, and it wipes right off your splat mat. And these are great for working with heat too, because they don't melt. Okay, so we've got our inking done for that particular piece. I guess I should have worked on my cutout too. Now this is a cutout that is available. It's an SVG. I used Make the Cut. I also like Sure Cuts a lot, and I used this cutout is on adamsacres.com. It's an SVG file that you can pick up there, and I'll have a link on the video for you. Okay, so we have that inked, we have that inked. Now let's get to the fun part. I have already put on some of my bling with my iRock, and what you do, put batteries in it. That's pretty simple. Flip it on. That's the other simple part. And then what you do is you place your bling where you want it. And I wish I had the tweezers, but they weren't available when I bought it. So that'll be in my next order from scrapbook.com. So anyhow, push the button and you'll see the little red light comes on. And this tip will get hot. You place it right on your bling and you hold it down for 10 seconds. Sometimes not quite that long, sometimes a little bit longer, but they go on pretty darn fast. No extra glue, nothing. And there, it's permanently set on my paper. This little heat setter, the iRock bling already comes with glue on the back of it, so when you set it with your iRock tool, it stays stuck. So I'm pretty fascinated with it, and I've used it in a lot of projects in the last week to 10 days, so I'm happy with the iRock tool. Okay, that's all finished. So let's get to, make sure you shut it off, because it is a little hot on that end. Now I'm going to buzz this through. I'm going to put a little tape on with my glue glider. Went back to using the glue glider. I had been using some inexpensive tapes from Walmart, and I was constantly adding more tape, and they weren't staying stuck, and they were coming unglued, and so I went back to my glue glider, and very happy that I did. But it's nice to try out new things every now and again. So I've got that piece on. He's kind of stuck. A better tool would be the Xyron, but for the sake of time, I did grab my glue glider. I like the X for things like this, but I wanted to get this on here in a hurry, and that's what you get when you do things in a hurry. You don't have everything perfect. Anyhow, taping him right on here. Got it. This is another SVG cut that's on my site, and the printout is already there. You can download that in a PDF from adamsacres.com too. Okay, I'm going to put this on here. Happy so far. I like the colors. I love that Be Mine stack from Die Cuts with a View. It's been one of my favorites. I'm about 3/4 of the way through this stack. I almost need to go buy another one because I do have more Valentine projects, but there we are with that. This is the top layer. Put that on here. I love all the texture because I embossed the black piece with Swiss Dot. I like that too. I love the fact that we inked it. It just gives it just a little more edge and just a little more texture than if you do it flat. And this is my outside piece. Okay. And there we have a completed card for my husband, or you can make it for anyone that you know and love and care about. And that's my Die Cuts with a View paper. My iRock tool did the bling, and I have the cuts on adamsacres.com. This is Charity Adams from adamsacres.com, and have a great day.